Well, welcome everybody, and thanks for showing up. I'm your host, Lady JB Owen, and happy to have you here at Ignite Humanity Live. Well, this is a show all about people who are igniting humanity, and I know that that's a big idea, big concept, but you know what? Each and every one of us ignites humanity in our own powerful way, and it's just that one person that we can touch their lives and inspire them to do something different, to step into their power, to really shine their magnificence. That is what it means to ignite humanity, because that creates a ripple effect for all of us to enjoy. I've just spent a week of traveling, so thanks for showing up if you watch some of our replays. And I've been all over in many different cities and just seeing how people are feeling these days. And we need to be igniting humanity. We need to be thinking about our future and what's possible. We need to be bringing some grace and some love and some kindness back into our interactions. And we need to truly, truly start showing compassion and understanding for one another. And how do we do that? Well, I truly believe that it's our ignite moments, those moments in our lives, that journey that we've been through, that special or difficult or trialsome, that moment that really sparks something new for us. Those ignite moments drive us towards our mission and our purpose. And it's truly beautiful to talk about the ignite moments of our guests and how that was the pinnacle for them to do what they're doing now. And what they are doing is truly igniting the lives of others. So let's meet our first guest. I love inviting new people to the show. Carly Pepin is an international speaker and consultant with a specialized focus on human behavior. With a global reach, she delivers the message that regardless of one's background, occupation, or origin, every individual encounters personal and professional challenges stemming from their own perceived flaws. And through her experience, through her expertise, she guides individuals in looking beyond the surface and delving into the core essence of their being. By uncovering and addressing the deeper issues that hinder personal growth, Carly enables her clients to design their lives with purpose and support creative avenues to ignite humanity. Let's invite her to the show. Welcome, welcome, Carly.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really inspired to be here.
Thank you for being here. I love hearing different perspectives and other people's viewpoints. We all have this belief and this knowingness that humanity, I think, is good, is generous, is kind, is giving. And yet many of us need to learn and understand and really dial into that. You're doing some powerful work in human behavior. Can you talk a little bit about how your work will help people ignite humanity?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think about igniting humanity, it's to me a snowball effect. Each individual plays such an integral role on this planet. I love the overview effect that astronauts have, right? They go into space and they see the Earth and they realize that we're all one. And what's really quite amazing is that we genuinely are. Like we all are here and we're all contributing to each other, sometimes without even knowing. So when we can ignite ourselves and we can ignite one individual, the snowball effect that can transfer to so many others is huge. So my main focus is tonight, one, to help the many.
It's interesting because a lot of times we feel very alone, or we could be in a whole group of people. I remember years ago I was in Beijing, and there's millions of people in Beijing, and yet I felt very alone. I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt like obviously my skin was a different color. I was taller than everyone. I sort of was like mountain over all the sea of people, and to sort of stop that feeling of not belonging, I started talking to people. I started asking them questions. I started finding out their story. I started really getting to know them. And it was really a powerful understanding that in that huge collective and that huge group, we all have this story. We all have a unique story, an individual story. But in many ways, our story is the same. We want to be happy. We want to feel peace. We want to feel joy. We want to feel a sense of self-worth. What are some of the things that you're finding that brings people together, and then that common denominator that's helping people feel connected?
Yeah. So some of the common denominators is actually first we understand our purpose, and then we also understand another individual's purpose. And when you can see how their purpose serves your purpose, it actually gives this not only sense of alignment, but allows you to understand how you guys can align. So we're all definitely different. But, for
Mhm.
example, I love I love certain aspects of personal development and growth and certain aspects of learning. And my husband likes different aspects of learning and personal development and growth. If we both like the same thing, we'd probably get bored with each other. But the
Right.
fact that he studies one thing and I'll study something else, and then we come together and combine like forces in that way, what winds up happening is those differences is actually what brings us together. So some
Mm,
people to be similar and we're hoping people are similar, not really realizing that it's the actual differences that connect us because they're fulfilling a role in your life that you're naturally not going to do, and not because you can't, it's just because you don't want to. It doesn't feel as
mm.
purposeful or meaningful to you. So it's cool, like even when you're in Beijing and you're walking around, all those individuals have different purposes, different things that they do in life, and it serves you. And when you get to experience it and see how it helps you on your own mission to ignite humanity, right? You also get to understand, like, wow, this is a person I'd love to collaborate with, connect with. So it's actually taking those differences and seeing how it helps us in our life. And when you see that, you realize there's a lot more collaboration that can occur.
Well, so well said. It's so well said. And that's why I love having guests on the show, is because they're doing something that's very powerful to them. They're igniting humanity in their own way, and they're touching lives and inspiring people. And that's why it's so wonderful to ask and speak to so many diverse individuals, because they are adding that little thing, that little extra thing. Like, I'm super interested in what you're doing. I'm excited how you ignite humanity. I'm so fascinated with the power that you have. Talk to me a little bit about what you were saying in the intro about people are sometimes limited by their flaws. What's happening there?
And these are our perceived flaws. And I want to emphasize perceived
Right.
because yeah, everything that you see on the outside, you actually have within. So you might compare yourself to an outside source. And this is where what people call imposter syndrome come in, is you look on the outside and you think someone has something that you don't. Now, what winds up happening is then you perceive you have a flaw and you'll go out and try to fix and change yourself according to what you perceive your flaw is. But the reality is that you have that same thing on the outside that you see in someone else, but it's in your values and your purpose. So, for example, a businessman may be great at running a company, and a wife who stays at home, which it could be reversed. Roles are a bit reversed nowadays as well, but we'll just use that as an example. So a wife could stay at home and be taking care of the kids. I call them the CEOs of the household. So if I
Right.
look at everything that they do in a day and all the things that they manage and how they're managing school and kids and growth, they're doing all the same things as a business owner, just in a different form. So if we're putting someone else on a pedestal thinking we don't have it, we're not seeing our own unique form. The other thing
Mm,
that comes in with our perceived flaws is that we also put ourselves down when we're challenging. We think that we're only supposed to be supportive, not realizing that sometimes it's in those challenging moments where we push someone who we love, who might be stuck, who might be in a rough spot, and we push them really hard. And challenging. It's
mhm.
challenging for them to receive that, but that's also a form of love, not to just support someone, but also challenge them to get to the other side. And remembering as well, when I say like all of our challenges like have a purpose, and even us being challenging has a purpose, sometimes we'll have moments where we get overwhelmed and we might overreact or react in a way that we think is unfit and we shouldn't be that way, and we perceive it as a flaw. The more that I'm able to ask those questions to individuals of how that actually not only serve them, but others, we realize that even that overreaction has a purpose. So the
Mm,
flaws really are perceived. And when you love and appreciate yourself for all of who you are, not just what you have done, but also what you haven't done, not just your supporter, but also your challenger, we realize that they truly are perceived flaws, and that you being authentically you not only ignites yourself, but can ignite others as well.
yeah, so well said. And in 2020, I started cycling, and I'd never cycled before, and I wanted to do something big and grand and start cycling. But I did at times feel like I was like, oh, my bike is not as cool as theirs, and oh, I don't have the right gear, and oh, look at their muscles, and I did start doing a lot of comparing. And I agree with you that imposter syndrome sort of pops up. And one of the ways that I love to just overcome that was realizing, like, I'm just getting started. I'm just in the kindergarten phases. I'm just learning. I'm just new at this. I'm still a student. And to compare myself to someone who's been cycling for 20 years or someone who cycles every single day was really a disservice to myself, because I was just getting started. I was just learning my way. And so it really helped me pop a little bit out of that imposter syndrome. But I agree with you that when we compare ourselves, we think that there's something wrong with us. And we don't really always put it into perspective as to maybe they've been doing it longer or they have more experience and they're just farther along. And that's what I love about this show is we pull people forward a little bit and we show people that if I can do it, you can do it too. If I can get there, you can get there. And it's just stepping into the awareness, the true awareness. Share a little bit more about how people can look at their flaws or maybe their perceived flaws again. How can they move themselves through it? Give us some tools and some ideas.
Absolutely. So definitely is asking yourself questions, quality questions. So for example, like with the bike riding for you, it's a great example. I can definitely see that you may not have had that level of, 20 years in bike riding and doing those components. But what I have certainty of is that there are individuals who see how you have mastery in speaking. And I know that that didn't happen overnight. And so it's
Mm,
funny, you have that same level of mastery, but it's not in bike riding. It's actually
right.
in what's more purposeful to you. It's in speaking. And so it's asking that question, whatever you see on the outside, go find it within yourself, in your own life purpose and your own values. And then you'll
Mm,
realize, wow, like nothing's actually missing inside me. And that's how we tackle one of the perceived flaws. The other perceived flaw that we tackle is when we're judging ourselves, like I said, for maybe overreacting, having a rough day and behaving in a way that you didn't think was fit and you were too challenging for someone. Actually go back and ask how that situation served someone and how it served yourself. And you keep asking that question until all of a sudden you say, whoa, I had no idea that this was necessary. Because if we think about it, we genuinely get those lessons in life, but it usually takes us 20, 30, 40, 50 years to look back and say, if I didn't have that challenge or I didn't deliver that challenge to someone, they wouldn't be where they are today, or I wouldn't be where I am today. So when you ask that question quickly, you can get the wisdom of the ages without the aging
mm.
process. So it's just giving yourself permission to see it earlier on. And then all of a sudden, nothing's a flaw. You're not missing anything. You don't need to change yourself and you love and appreciate yourself for who you are.
We have to make a new acronym. You know, the way they have fear, false evidence appearing real. I'm going to start like, what can we call flaws? Because we have no flaws. There isn't really anything that is a flaw. Everything I think is divinely guided. I think there was a master plan for all of it. It'd be fun to come up with something new for flaws, like, fabulous, attractive, wonderful, sensational things about myself that are just different than somebody else's.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this though. There's something in your life that probably prompted this to be your work and your mission. Was there that ignite moment that I love to ask people about that really was the catalyst for all of the work that you're doing?
Absolutely. So I genuinely had a really great life, but I didn't see it as a great life. So again, it was a perception. And I decided to move to Australia, which just seemed like the place to go, even though it's just really far. And I moved outside of Los Angeles because I thought Los Angeles was the problem. And it was definitely the perfect place for me to go because as soon as I got there, I realized that there was nothing on the outside that was impacting me because all those things were gone and that it was all coming from the inside. And that's when I really started to understand, hey, it's time to take a different approach. It's time to do some personal development and growth. And they say it, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I found my first teacher who was a human behavior specialist, taught me about like life purpose, our priorities, and just really helped me to get back on track. And it was really cool because within the first couple weeks, I got off my anxiety medication, which was insane. And it makes sense because for me, I would get anxious whenever I wasn't living a life that was purposeful to me. That's actually the root cause of my anxiety, which is
Mm.
interesting, very interesting. So as soon as I started doing that, I shifted off of that. And that's when I just got hooked. I got hooked and I was like, I want to do this. I want to do this for other individuals. And then when I came back to Los Angeles, I saw it with a whole fresh perspective. And now it's one of my favorite places in the world. And I'm not sure, I love living other places, but now I'm not sure I can ever not have this as my home base. So when I say it really is all our perceptions, it genuinely is. And when I came back home, I fell in love with the city that's genuinely my home and
Mm.
myself, which is helpful.
Well, I think a lot of people listening can relate. Many people have left where they live thinking that grass is greener on the other side, or it's going to be better over there. And for some people, many people, it is. But in your situation, you left Los Angeles, moved to Australia, left it to go to an entirely different country. And what you found when you got there was it wasn't the place, it was really the place within you. Can you share a little bit about that? Because I think there are many of us who are thinking like it's better over there. Oh, it's actually better over there. Or it's better with him. Or no, it's better with him. Or no, it's better in this job. Or it's better in that job. And they're just always kind of looking for that outward component, I guess is the word, that's going to make it all better, when really it's the work that we do inside.
Absolutely. And this is where our perceptions come in, right? So I had a perception that there was more negative than positive in Los Angeles. That was my perception. And so when I moved to Australia, my perception that it was going to be more positive than negative. And I got there and nothing really changed. And don't get me wrong, Australia is amazing. Like if I think about another place in the world that I could settle down and feel fulfilled, Australia is the other one so far out of all the places I've traveled in the world. However, it still wasn't going to be fulfilling because I wasn't fulfilled. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't waking up every day doing things that I felt were purposeful to me. I didn't do things that I felt were like I was on a mission, that my life mattered in a sense. And it's not to say that we have to go out and do something on a grand scale to make our lives matter. Like your life is going to matter according to your unique priorities. Again, that overview effect. When you look at this planet, there's so many people. I mean, we have almost over 8 billion people on this planet. To think that every single one of us has to be on the stage in front of billions of people all the time, like that's just not possible. And so if you connect with what's truly inspiring to you, you'll realize maybe that's not for you. And then what is for you? And the second that we connect with that component of ourselves, it changes the dynamic of what you wake up to every day, because you wake up saying, instead of I have to do this, I need to do this, I've got to do this, you're like, I get to do this. I want to do this. I'm looking forward to doing that. And that's a very different feeling that we have when we create a life around our own purpose. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you understand who you are, you take that with you. Home is on the inside. So no matter where you are, if you have that home and you know that like how to create that home on the inside, you can go anywhere and find it and find yourself and feel fulfilled, anywhere on this planet. And the other cool thing as well with that is when we find that home on the inside, is that you're also going to embrace both pleasure and pain in the pursuit of it. Is that you don't have to avoid the challenges. You don't have to avoid getting frustrated. You start to see the challenges as a growth opportunity, as an evolutionary opportunity, and something that you can do to create not only for yourself, but for others. And so you wake up and now it's like, oh, this is going to be hard. I don't want to do this. Now you're like, this is going to be hard, but I'm going to do this because this is so meaningful to me. And then we start to build real self-worth, confidence that lasts. It's not just an affirmation, it's you physically experiencing what you're capable of. So building that home on the inside is so much more important than you think, because that's where you'll go through the pleasure and pain, and you'll go through those challenges that again build self-worth that lasts. You'll feel it, you'll know it, you'll experience it. And nobody, no matter what they say to you, can take away that knowing and certainty from overcoming things and getting to the other side.
Well said. And that begs the question, because some people are listening and they would say, well, how did you do that? How did you find that? How did you get to that place and decide, I'm not happy here. I want to get on purpose. I want to discover my purpose. There are many people who are just going through the motions, feeling like that's what they're supposed to be doing. Isn't that what society says, or television says, or this is what the internet says? And yet you realize, like, okay, getting on purpose and feeling at home within myself is really what was going to make me feel at home wherever I was. Was there a process or a practice that you did or delved into that maybe you could share with our viewers?
Absolutely. So when we think about our life purpose, sometimes we think it's nebulous and we think it's untouchable and confusing, and that's not true. Every day, your life demonstrates your life purpose. And it's going to be the things that inspire you, that energize you, that light you up, the things that you invest the most time, energy, money into. You're already actually doing it, but you've judged yourself and think it should look like something else. And that's why you haven't quite paid attention to it. And so it's really fascinating because we want it to be something often, and we'll compare it to someone else that we've put on a pedestal, and that's where the imposter syndrome comes in. But if you just look at what your life demonstrates, you will see what's most important to you. And a great indicator too is like you could be really tired, really frustrated, have a really bad day, right? Let's say you're going through one of the hardest times of your life now or before, and you could think of one of those moments even right now as you're listening to this. During that time, what did you still have energy to do? Even though you were having the hardest time ever, like, what did you get up and say, no matter what is going on, I'm going to make sure this gets done? And
Mm.
those are things you do because they're so purposeful to you. And when I tell people to create a life by design, I want people to create a life around those things that are so inspiring to them that nothing holds them back from achieving it. High achievers aren't high achievers because they're special, they're better than you, they have more skills or tools. That's not the case. All they're doing is they're connected to something that they're not willing to give up. So if you pay attention to what you're already connected to, what you're already not willing to give up, and invest more time and energy and your life into that, I guarantee you, you could be considered that high achiever because that's your purpose. That's your greater why. So it's really quite inspiring. Like when you connect with that and see it. And again, your life demonstrates it. It demonstrates what you're doing daily, already investing in is something that's in like genuinely purposeful to you.
Well, yeah, I can really relate to that. A lot of times when I'm coaching my clients, I'll say to them, "What would you do if you never got paid to do it?" And they kind of, they glitch. They're like, "What? What do you mean? If I never?" I said, "What would you do even if you were never paid? You didn't make a penny from it. What would you do?" And a lot of people have to really think about it, but ultimately they'll say things like, I would just paint, or I would just write, or I would just, I would go and save the dolphins, or I would, they really have something inside of them that's they're quite passionate about. And I always lead them in that direction, because if you're going to do something and it doesn't matter if you get paid or not, you're still doing it, then that really is in alignment with your greater purpose, because you don't need to use the transaction to get you to get up every morning. And so really well said, because we do need to dial into the things, as you said, that put us on purpose and give us meaning and this sense of belonging. I know that your Ignite moment was quite impactful for you. Did you ended up moving back to Los Angeles from Australia? Now, tell us a little bit about how do you, and today's really about ideas, how do you now use that wisdom and that knowledge to really help ignite humanity?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's basically helping people gain that connection with themselves and then helping them to come up with the ideas and the inspiration. And they have it from within on how they can take what they love and give it to other people as a service.
Mm.
And what's
Mm.
amazing is every person on this planet is again unique and different. And if we look at, I mean, Amazon's a great way to look at it. You go on Amazon.com, we could buy how many products? Like an endless quantity of products. So to say that what you do is not important and not necessary is inaccurate. If you genuinely want to make a business out of doing something you love, you can make a business out of doing something you love, right?
Right.
And so it's just figuring out what that looks like. I love like the organization companies because a lot of us, if we don't want to organize. I love to have an organized place, but I don't want to actually spend the time organizing to the same degree. And there's someone out there who just loves spending their time organizing things.
Right.
And they created huge businesses out of it. It's now a huge business and a huge market. So, whatever you do and whatever you love, it's asking yourself the question, who needs this? Who wants this? Who
Mm.
wants that service? And it's like, well, how do I get in front of them? How do I reach them? What platform can I use? And in today's day and age, there's so many different ways to do it. We used to only be able to reach people physically and by mail and would go out physically and network. And now we have so many things online and different ways to connect with people, including still just meeting people physically. So it's like, how do you actually get that service to someone else? Because it's quite inspiring when you realize that there are groups of individuals. This is when they call it a niche, right? It's basically the group of individuals that is inspired by what you do and has a similarity in their life purpose and is is dying to have what you have. And it's like, okay, well, how do we reach them, connect with them? And then you could create an income off of what you love. And it's like you said, like, I love how you shared, what would you do anyways, even if you didn't get paid? Because then we know that no matter what, you're going to wake up every day, even if you're not getting paid, which sometimes in the beginning of your business, you don't get paid. By
Right.
the way, it takes some time. But then we know that you're going to do that no matter what. And then eventually you're going to get paid for it. It's going to be the thing that you go through pleasure and pain and don't give up on.
It's so true. People say, well, how can I do something I don't get paid for? And I say, well, if you do it with passion and fervor, you will definitely, be remunerated for it. There will be a residual coming from it because you will become an expert in that industry. You will become a leader in that. You'll do it with passion and excitement, and people will notice it. And so that all will turn into the magic of the energetic exchange of financial gain and abundance. Well, I love everything you have shared. I so appreciate you. And it's true. We really want to inspire people to be on mission, be on purpose, and that is absolutely going to ignite humanity. Well, folks, if you want to know what Carly is up to and you want to find out how to reach her and you'd like to learn more about what she's doing and something today resonated with you and you'd like to speak with her, please reach out to her at her website, carlypepin.com, and find out how you can work together and support one another to ignite your own life and ignite the lives around you. Thanks, Carly, so much for being here. Blessings. Great show. I appreciate you dearly.
Thanks.
All right. Well, folks, if you are looking to really get on purpose and get on mission, take a moment and ask yourself, what do I love to do? Even if I didn't get paid for it, would I do it anyway? And that is a great indicator of the things that are important to you. And then when you do stuff with passion and compassion, you actually create a really absolutely beautiful life for yourself and others. Well, let me tell you a little bit what's going on in Ignite Humanity. We're doing some fun stuff, and we'd love for you to go on over to our website to see what we're up to. We're creating the largest compilation book about Ignite Humanity stories. We are building schools in third world countries, and we'd love to have your donation. Folks, every dollar you donate buys a brick for one of our schools, and we're using plastic bricks made from recycled plastic pulled out of the landfills, and that's pretty powerful. You can find out more at our website, ignitehumanity.life. If you'd like to be on the show, well, we would love to hear from you. I want to talk to every single person on the planet. Carly mentioned 8 billion people, and my mind started churning like, could I get to 8 billion people? Wouldn't it be great to know 8 billion Ignite moments? Well, we would love to hear your Ignite moment and how that is igniting humanity. Reach out and fill out our type form and tell us what you're up to. And if you know somebody who's igniting humanity and maybe they're shy, fill out the type form for them, and we would love to have them on the show. We want voices and stories and understanding from all over the globe, because we hope that one thing that is said on this show is the thing that moves the needle for you and helps you get inspired to ignite the lives of others. All right, blessings. We'll see you tomorrow, and have a great one.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.